Kakbhushundi invoked Sri Ram mentally and then began his story in a tone that reflected his joy. When Sri Ram broke the legendary bow, Sita garlanded him with the Jaimala. But now the proper marriage ceremony, as per Vedic rites, needed to be performed. Raja Janak immediately dispatched messengers to Ayodhya to give Raja Dashrath the joyous news. There was naturally great festivity in Ayodhya when Raja Dashrath received such happy tidings. Even the birds and animals of Ayodhya were most excited. Preparations got underway for the Bharat to leave as soon as possible. In those days, women did not usually go on such long journeys because they were very tiring and could be dangerous. So the king and his court set off with a part of the army. Raja Dashrath first seated Rishi Vashisht in a specially decorated chariot and then climbed into a second one himself. Invoking Lord Shiva, Parvati Devi, Lord Ganesh and the Guru, the king blew the conch and then the Bharat set off. The horses headed the procession, followed by beautifully decorated chariots. Then came the elephants, mounted with howdahs, followed by foot soldiers. The palanquins made up the rear. A variety of musicians played different musical instruments, and skilled riders made their horses trot to the beat of the music. Minstrels, bards, and balladeers followed. There were numerous mules, camels, and bullocks carrying the provisions of food. A great many water bearers and porters bearing luggage on their shoulders also followed. Numerous birds from Ayodhya also decided to be part of the Bharat, and they flew overhead, enjoying the music, trilling along with the bards, while others flapped their wings to the beat of the music. Everyone was in a very joyous mood. The Bharat was received in Janakpuri with great honor and fanfare by Raja Janak, his Guru Rishi Shatananda, and other dignitaries. The arrangements made for everyone were superb, and the marriage ceremony was magnificent and sublime. Everyone felt that Ram and Sita represented the ultimate in beauty, while Raja Dashrath and Raja Janak exemplified the epitome of noble deeds. The atmosphere was so divine that even the Vedas assumed the forms of Brahmins and recited mantras. The Devtas all arrived in the guise of men to witness this most glorious event. As soon as the marriage ceremony was over, Rishi Vashisht called Raja Janak and pointed out that Sita had a young sister called Urmila, and Raja Janak's brother Kushadhwaja had two daughters, Mandavi and the younger Shrutakirti. Guru Vashisht suggested that all the three girls be married to Ram's three brothers. Raja Janak readily agreed, and thus Lakshman was married to Urmila, Bharat to Mandavi, and Shatrughan to Shrutakirti. Happiness thus quadrupled. A great feast followed, and many generous gifts were exchanged. Then came the time to leave. The citizens of Mithila shed copious tears because they would be parted from 4 of their princesses in one go. Equally important, even the animals of Mithila grieved at the departure of Sita and her sisters. Sita had some pet birds. They were heartbroken when their beloved mistress left, and they kept crying out long after she was gone, wondering where she was. Kakbushundi's voice trembled with great emotion. The birds listening to him felt his pain, as also that of Sita's pet birds. Their feathers drooped and their heads hung low. Why did every joy have to be followed by so much pain, they wondered. In Ayodhya, however, there was great celebration. Everyone awaited the return of the Bharat with the new princesses. All the houses, markets, and streets were decorated. Music could be heard. People were singing, dancing, and reciting mantras. The three queens could hardly contain their joy as they looked forward to welcoming their sons and new daughters-in-law. It was a grand, blessed, and loving welcome. The return of the newly married Ram was marked each day by some new auspicious and joyful celebration. Euphoria prevailed in all creation. It was experienced not just in Ayodhya, but in all the 14 lokas or realms that make up each Brahmand or cosmos. And there are countless Brahmands in the universe. Then, lowering his voice, Kakbushundi declared that even if they all did not live in Treta Yuga, when the Ram avatar happened, they were still very blessed, for they were experiencing the Ram avatar in their hearts. He explained that there was an external avatar, but that there was also an internal one. The scriptures say that when the heart is flooded with spiritual bliss, it means that the avatar of the Lord has taken place in one's own heart. Therefore, even if one cannot experience the physical avatar of Sri Ram, each one of us can experience it within his or her own heart. That is precisely what the birds were experiencing. They felt completely fulfilled because of the great bhakti that overflowed in their hearts. It freed them from attachment to objects and other birds, and thus from the sorrows of the world. Kakbushundi then fell silent because he was so submerged in bliss himself. The birds too experienced rapture, and for a few moments there was total stillness. This story session ended on a happy note and marked the end of the first canto of the Ramayana called Balkand. The birds bowed down to Kakbushundi and flew off into the night.